Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna start now. Hello, everybody. Welcome to MaGESpire Present Retooling Treasury and Risk for a Resilient Future. My name is Bowie. I'm your host today. Giving you the background, preparing for the unknown is a challenge, but forward-thinking treasurers are starting to access real-time usable data to optimize cash forecasting and automating investment processes. They are also rethinking the integration of technology with the aim of improving the risk and reward trade-off. And by managing the organization's cash and liquidity requirements in smarter ways, treasurers are strategically advancing their role and the team's capabilities. And it's my privilege to host a very special panel discussion today with the seasoned speakers on this topic. And let's welcome Mr. Grover, CM Grover, the Managing Director and the CEO from IBSFintech. Welcome, namaste. And we also have Anthony from the Senior Vice President from Oracle. We also have Channing Au from Tsangs Group, which is a single family office in Hong Kong. And we have Shirley, the seasoned CFO from Grace Capital Group. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Mr. Grover to introduce yourself and also tell us a little bit about your background, and would love to learn about what you do from IBSFintech.
Thank you, Bowie, and good evening to all your audience here. So I head this company called IBSFintech India Private Limited, which is a software solution provider for corporations, mainly large and medium corporations, to manage their treasury, trade, and risk in an efficient manner. The promoters of the company, including me and my partner, Mr. Manjunath, we have come out from we are ex-bankers and came out from a Government of India bank roughly 2 decades, almost 15 years now, and set up the company. And we started developing the solution meant for the corporate sector. Today, IBSFintech, proudly we feel that in the country where treasury solution per se was not even a concept 10 years back, we are the market leader today in the country. Not only that, we have been ranked globally among top 10 in the globe by US agencies, different survey agencies, that among top 10 TMS player in the globe. We are in the market from 2013 when we claim our beta launch happened in India, and the largest media house of the country decided to go with our solution in place of global big players. So boy, if you see our background, we believe that we had been ahead of time, right from the name of the company, which is FinTech, which is the flavor of today, to the idea of having a treasury management solution for corporations, where we had to do a concept selling, and we reached this level. So this is where we come from.
Thank you, Mr. Grover. I'm yet to love to learn more about what you do in the platform. I know IBSFintech is rated top 8 globally for treasury and risk management platform, which is an outstanding performance. So congratulations to that. And I know that your company also reached to 14 years anniversary, so which is a great milestone. I'm yet to talk to you a little bit more about your journey. So how about you, Anthony? Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Good evening, everybody, and I'm so pleased to be here. Very proud to be supporting our great partner, IBSFintech. I come from Oracle. I run our independent software vendor business and one of my valuable partners is IBSFintech. I'd like to congratulate them on the development we've observed with their solution, which is really tremendous. I have more than 40 years experience in IT, the last 12 to 15 years very specifically in cloud applications and software as a service and platform as a service. So I'm really here to support my wonderful partner and have the privilege of participating in tonight's discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. And how about you, Shirley? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm honored and privileged to be here this evening. Thank you for the opportunity to share and supporting my good friends in your efforts. I'm actually a traditional investment banker. I was trained at Lehman Brothers and Chase Manhattan Bank. At Chase during the 90s, we trained through cash flow analysis, the credit training. So that was my investment banking career. And for 30 years, I moved from investment banking to be a CFO at an e-learning startup I set up in the 1999 during the internet bubble. We were able to raise a lot of money with a piece of paper during those days. Unfortunately, I didn't learn my lessons very early. Maybe if I had your dashboard, I won't have, sort of 28 million burned in a very short period of time, built up 200 strong teams with 6 offices and bought a lot of universities. We didn't have our people, our system in place. So I went back to investment banking with that internet bubble bursted. And I went on to do private equity investment. I also had an opportunity to be a CFO at Thurs, Pine Peak, which is a Tsinghua University technology investment fund based in Hong Kong. As a CFO then, we did mostly managing fundraising, manage money of the funds that we are deploying to various different portfolio companies. Currently, my boutique company, Grace Capital, I have 3 mandates, which most of them I work very closely with founders and CFOs. I work very, very closely with CFOs on really teaching them the whole idea of cash flow and management system. So very interested to learn your dashboard.
Thank you, Shirley. Channing?
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Channing?
Sure. I'm Channing Ao, and I'm currently one of the managing director of the single family office Tsangs Group, which is single family based in UK and Hong Kong. And before joining the Tsangs Group, I have around 20 years audit experience in Big Four and international audit firms like KPMG, BDO, and McKinsey Wood. And I'm also been CFO in US listed companies for over 5 years. And this about me.
Thank you, Channing. Now jump to the question without further ado. Mr. Grover, my first question goes to you. Can you please share about your journey forming IBSFintech and also how the company was formed and the evolution over the last decade? Mr. Grover?
Yeah, Bowie, as told you that we are a 14-year young company. Today, recently we celebrated our 14th anniversary. And a lot of people participated from across the globe. We started with, initially we were known as a Forex Treasury Management Solution providers. I should say in the year 2013 when we got our beta launch done with the largest media house of the country. But of late, with the acquisition of the more and more clients, the product also got evolved. And we ultimately, when we last 2 years back, we realized that we are not a Forex treasury management solution company. We are a treasury management solution company's complete suite of products we have, when it takes care of the multi-asset class, all the asset classes of the treasury operations, commodities, investments, hedge accounting, or options, and everything. We take care of that. It doesn't end there. We have also added the next level features in our product, which is called trade finance activities. So we have reached here after 14 years, where in the globe, we will not find many companies who can provide trade finance and treasury together. So we have reached that level. Considered to be the market leader here in India, where India is the most lucrative market in the globe, where every global big player wants to enter here, and not everyone is successful. Same is the case in the segment of TMS providers globally. You name the players, whether it's Reval, Kariba, SAP Treasury, or Murex, or Calypso. People are struggling, or certain people have shut their shop out from this place. In that difficult market, we have been considered as a leader here. This is our achievement. And the focus today of IBSFintech in 2021 is go global in a big way and launch our product on a SaaS cloud platform, for which we have Anthony here. We are reaching, with the cloud, Oracle Cloud, we have chosen that, and we are going ahead with that in global. So practically a company which will have on-prem solution also, which is already running. And also we will be entering an area where, to start with mid and emerging corporates, we'll be catering with a cloud product. This is where we have come in the last 14 years.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Grover. I think IBSFintech is very unique because in Hong Kong and Singapore, there are lots of platforms focused on treasury management, and then also lots of platforms only focus on risk management. You barely see a lot of companies where they are doing so well that combine both together as a one-stop shop solution platform. So I love to learn more, and I know at the end, after the panel, we will have some SaaS demo session with Q&A, so I would love to learn more about it. Thank you, Mr. Grover. And Anthony, it goes to you. Being a strategic partner with IBSFintech for Oracle, how is the adoption of cloud by corporate, change in the last 3 years during COVID, and what are the regulatory challenges faced and questions from the client for migrating from on-premises to cloud for SaaS solution, especially in the cybersecurity space?
Yeah, look, there's quite a lot of aspects of that question, so I'm going to break it down into pieces. The first thing is that companies are beginning to realize that cloud is not as frightening as they thought it was. The cybersecurity, the general security issues are the same really whether you're on-premise or whether you're in cloud. It's usually programming errors, backdoor, human errors. There's a whole range of issues around it. It is a little more dangerous nowadays with the internet, but nevertheless, SaaS is actually a much safer option in many cases than trying to operate on premise. So we've seen a big shift. Generally, regulators are behind the market. They tend to run a little slower than the technology trends. So I suppose it's fair to say that as long as you transfer forwards all of the best practices that the regulators require, there's really nothing to stop moving to a SaaS-based solution. And also the advantage, let's take IBSFintech, for example. When you have a SaaS-based solution, you can very quickly bring on new offerings, new services, new functionality in SaaS. It's much harder to do that when you have to reset and change an on-premise solution. So we're seeing a change. COVID, which you made as a question, really has been dramatic because it demonstrated to a lot of companies that if they had to operate outside their office environment, they were missing a lot of the pieces that they needed. They were used to walking up and down the corridor with a spreadsheet, to unlocking unlocking the safe. There were all sorts of very physical, traditional ways of looking at how they ran their business. As soon as you take that to working outside the office, you really may as well be a cloud solution, because it doesn't make any sense to try and replicate your physical environment when you've got a distributed workforce working from home. So we've seen a huge growth in the fintech space, particularly very rapid growth in the last 12 months.
Thank you, Anthony. That's a very interesting feedback on the space visually during the COVID, and COVID definitely accelerated digitalization for the whole world for us to keep in touch with everybody. Channing, here's a question for you. I know Tsangs Group is a single family office based in Hong Kong, and also you have a branch in the UK. Can you share your experience how you manage the treasury and risk, especially with business across different geography and involves currency or commodities or interest rate or even credit risk in the natural course of business?
Okay. We think that some risks like foreign exchange, liquidity risk, and interest rate, these are the more critical and important risk exposures for the corporate treasury that we always face. And usually we will perform some assessment on the cost and benefit for the overall management on the cash flow, the liquidity risk, and the risk and funding. And besides that, because just like the single family situations, we involve quite different locations like UK, China, Hong Kong, and United States. So another issue is how to consider the tax efficiency for the intercompany, or also our investment also is considerations. The cash pooling on each country, and also the second is the potentials eligible activities that we can perform under the corporate treasury policy within us. And also about the foreign exchange risk, we will consider to set up some hedging policy and the policy and strategy to mitigate the risk arising from the increasing volatility in different currency like RMB and US dollar and other major currency. And also we will try to use some more improvement in the financing feasibility on how to smart financing on our cash on hand. And besides this, we will also try to use some treasury management system and some technology infrastructures to improve our overall treasury. The structure.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Channing. I know the chairman from Tsangs Group very well, Patrick Zhang.
Yeah.
Sometimes do cross some deal flow together. I didn't get a chance to tell all the audience what I do. So beside running this event, I'm in the angel and VC space. So I do angel investment into technology startup directly, which is why I also share some deal flow with Patrick Zhang sometimes. And also for VC, I'm a partner of a VC fund called True Global Ventures. So beside running events and sharing all these educational talks, I'm also very active in the space. So thank you for Channing. So my next question goes to Shirley. As a seasoned CFO, I know that when you were working as the Thurs Group, which is the Tsinghua University venture arm, and also back in the old days that you mentioned in 1999, you were a CFO from running a startup. I'm going to disclose the money. You said a lot of money, but the fact is you actually managed back in 1999, you raised 28 million USD. That is a lot of money. So could you please share the experience and also challenges being a CFO?
Let me just give you a story. So we were very lucky. We had a couple family office came in from Hong Kong. We have Sandal Lam's Robert. He introduced us to some of the Singaporean family office. And from then we got to Temasek, and Temasek's Lee Kingdom loved us and because it's an educational space. So we had the money very fast in very short span of time. And so three of us, the founders, are all investment bankers and a professor economics at CU in Hong Kong, and none of us had a management experience. So, you know, I know we have to keep the burn rate low, but we had this M&A strategy. So we bought a couple universities, thought we would spread our, but then, you know, buying companies in China, in different parts in Taiwan, it's very difficult to manage the cash flow. Like even universities, you have tuitions. Somehow the tuition was not reflected in our accounts. I appointed a financial controller and a director in both of the universities that we bought, one in Hehui, another in Nanchang. I went there a couple of times. I sat there for a week and two. Money was there, and the minute I got back to Hong Kong, it's gone. And yeah, that was the story. So we thought we were being smart. And after 2 years, really, you know, struggling towards the end, how to pay cash flow, like how to pay payroll was an issue at the one point. And then we had to raise more money. And I realized the IPO wasn't on the horizon. We just missed the train. And I went back to investment banking. My other two co-founders, one of them stayed. And the company still exists. It's a China education company. So I also responsible for business development. So we brought a lot of e-learning, e-MBA programs into Hong Kong, China, Taiwan. And for that company's been surviving basically on this tuition. At the Tusk Pine Peak is a different type of management. It's a lot of FX because we also manage money for a couple sovereign wealth funds that goes into a lot of tech investment. So very much an FX, and also how do we control the deployment of our capital into investee companies. It's actually more fundraising for my role, mainly because we are fund. So there was a lot of talking to various different LPs and being transparent and having a lot of management accounts reporting. That is very much, and it's a very small setup. So having a sort of support fund, a developer a portfolio, it's, you know, sort of a ERP-like system that would be very helpful.
Thank you for sharing, Shirley. You know, running a startup, I think the biggest fears for founders, to me, in my opinion, is that you don't have enough money to pay your team. This is I think the biggest fear, because if you don't have enough money to pay your team, they will be gone. Without the team, you know, your startup basically wouldn't be successful, or would be even more tougher. So I guess the CFO role is a very critical team member for the team success. Thank you, Shirley. Mr. Grover, my next question goes to you. What are the key challenges, you know, faced by Treasury function in a growing corporate? What do you hear from clients, and how does IBSFintech software solution solve this? To name a few, you know, we have cash flow, visibility, we have inadequate treasury systems, we have a consolidated view or dashboard for CFO. Could you please share what you think?
So very interesting question, Bowie, and above that, very interesting co-panelist. Whatever we do, what Channing and Shirley was telling, this is what we do in the nutshell. So practically what happens, our target clientele is CFO. And CFOs are struggling, what Channing and Shirley has put it rightly. They need to know what is their cash position as of now on real-time basis. They need to know how they need to do their cash forecasting, see the deficit and the excess, what is happening there. pooling of their complete cash pooling of their global entities or the different entities. So this is where the thing comes. And above all, they need a real-time information system. So what we claim, this is the most pain area in Treasury department, but particularly if they are cash rich, they need to manage their cash well so that it can generate further cash. They need an intelligent decision support system to do the cash pooling across the globe in the different currencies, ensure that currencies exposures are netted off properly. Somewhere it is natural hedges happening. All these things have to be taken care by the Treasury head or the CFO. These are the challenges which keeps, it's a every day's challenge, right from the days when the day breaks in the morning. You can ask Shirley or Channing. This is the challenge for every CFO. This is where we provide the solution. Every CFO needs an intelligent decision support system. And this is where we could satisfy the CFO breed and the head of treasuries that they need an integration with different diversified systems, whether it's a ERP, SAP, or Oracle, whether it's market data service providers like Refinitiv, Thomson Reuters, or Bloomberg, whether connectivity to the bank through SWIFT, whether connectivity with the FXall and FX, the trading platform, all these things are the challenge. Every system works in silos. We become the middleware to integrate all and provide a unified view to the stakeholders, a 360-degree view, which is the most critical requirement of every CFO. This is what we do, and this is the biggest challenge. I think I'm covering. And again, automation. The automation and digitization removes manual interventions, which gives the integrity to the data. Because Treasury head or CFO, they are taking certain call on real-time basis on the basis of the data provided to them, whether they should hedge it or they should keep it open or they should do trading positions, whatever it is to be done. It depends on the information what is provided to them. And if information is real-time and directly flowing through the ERP from the accounting system, the chances of mitigating and managing risk is high, very high. This is what we do.
Thank you, Mr. Grover. My next question goes to Anthony. So how important it is to inculcate a strong partnership slash independent software vendor, what we call IBSFintech, ecosystem for business enablement, and how Oracle Cloud or being an Oracle ISV will facilitate IBSFintech and its customers?
Yeah, look, it's an interesting question. So all clouds are not equal. And I think that's probably misunderstood by a lot of people. In the case of Oracle, we've got a very strong installed base in all across the financial sector and have done for a long time, and also amongst regulatory bodies and governments and some of the organizations that anybody who's in Treasury is going to have to interact with. And then many people use our products in the core of their solution, whether it be an ERP solution of ours or whatever. So I think what I encourage our ISV partners to do is to innovate and build their application on our platform layer. And we see that helps people accelerate their time to market, onboard their customers more effectively. And as a result of that, it makes them more successful and more profitable, not least of which having access to our 450,000 enterprise customers is obviously a very attractive thing to drive the success of a business. And we're building a great partnership with Mr. Grover and his excellent team, and we're looking forward to helping them develop the next generation of their solution.
Sounds good. Thank you. My next question goes to Channing. What are the key challenges or experience you have had on that front, given that rapid developments in technology and also increasing sophistication of business models?
Okay. I think one critical thing that we learn from our experience is the changes always happen. And no matter the technology advance that will take over the traditional ones, as well as the keep changing market reactions on something else. Just like what we have experienced last year, that the COVID-19 that give many change on the human beings, but we may at the beginning we cannot expect that the stock market is keep raising since the COVID-19 outbreak, and particularly on some high-tech business like Amazon's and Tesla. And one of the example is that Tsangs Group invest 2 years ago about Fubo TV and get listed in the New York Stock Exchange since last year. And so far, these high-tech technologies that we have a very amazing growth since the
How many X from this deal? How many X you got? I'm curious to know.
Overall, it's close to 200X actually.
Oh my God! Wow.
It's great.
Amazing.
Very great investment.
Amazing! Congratulations.
Yes.
Yes.
So from the market change, we also have something that is never change, is that we always keep in mind that how to increase the shareholders and stakeholder value, and how to making decisions by prepared informations, and also how to balance the overall the operational benefit, of course, before we make the investment. And final is the 3 points that we will always keep in mind, that is invest the future, and also keep in mind the social responsibility, and also keep learning. Yeah, that's the key.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Shirley, my next question goes to you. Digitalization and also adoption of technology solutions has accelerated in the last 12 months due to COVID. Obviously, that's one of the key factors. How is your experience with clients and also your investment?
Well, currently I have a client in Science Park, Hong Kong Science Park, which is focused on IoT. Now they're putting the A part, it's an AIoT. They had hired a team that's specialized in AI, and because they've been for 10 years focused on IoT. They were one of the early adopters in Hong Kong. The biggest clients are the lottery players, lottery retailers like Zhou Daifu. If you ever walk into Zhou Daifu, Zhou Shenshen, the lottery retail, they have a smart trays. So there were like 10,000 pieces that goes through a store. Instead of counting by hand, there's tray that reads every precious gems, gold pieces, and then it goes into a system. And so they also build an inventory, the whole warehouse system, the warehouse management system. They use the same system to do with hospitals. So currently the hospital authority has hired them to do 14 revamps for the pharmaceutical, sort of instead of waiting for 2 hours getting your drugs filled, they have a pharmaceutical fulfillment system, which would take about less than half hour. And the whole deployment and the data that they collect is not just help to speed up the process. So we have seen all that. And of course, this helps from the CFO perspective. You know where exactly where you're going to get pickups. And then you also, this is whole digitalization, automation to helping the hospital care and logistics. They work with carrier logistics and the MTR. You will be surprised, MTR still has very backward system to check for securities. They use this hammer, like check on the hotness of the steel. Now they use automation. They use RFID to mark down each tools, each pieces. So there was a lot of automation use technology. not just for the high-tech companies I see in Science Park. I also have a client that's based in Beijing and mental health care. It is all about how to regulate our emotions. With pandemic, is very difficult. That the emotional disorder is all-time high, and so they have this from the voice that you're projecting. They could see if you're having a difficult time, if you're irritated, and how you calm yourself down. So this is through various different apps that they have that teach you how to do meditation, how to breathe. So this is all about technology and to help us to regulate our well-being.
Thank you, Shirley. That's very interesting. How about your views on the same question, Mr. Grover? What are your views or experience with the client and investment in terms of digitalization and the adoption of technology solutions? You need to unmute yourself. Yep.
We used to promote digitization when nobody was ready to, in India, nobody was ready to do the automation. Treasury being a sensitive department, it used to be a unit in any corporation. But of late, in the last 6, 7, 8 years, journey shows that today Treasury department has become the most strategic unit of any corporation or organization. Digitization in this field, one is what has happened in last 7 years and what has happened in last 7 months. The different surveys done by global big players, whether it's McKinsey or Deloitte or anything, the digitization adoption in the last 4, 5, 6 months has taken a big leap. Conceptually, people have understood the value of automating things, that to the most critical financial function, Treasury per se. So what is the situation? We used to tell people that you need to have an intelligent decision support system. I'm saying 6 years, 5 years back. During COVID time and post-COVID time, the situation is that from every nook and corner, not only in India, the CFOs have started approaching us that we want to digitize our treasury space. So huge leap as far as the adoption for digitization is concerned in treasury functions per se. That is one. Second, our experience with this thing, what we had, and now banks are coming forward. Integration with through open banking is becoming talk of the town. Evolution of our product parallelly going on because people have started expecting those whatever analytics you are providing, it should be powered by AI. Our teams have started working on that, whether it's AI or ML or RPAs, or whether it's reading of the statements, you have to use RP. All these things are being done as on today. And connectivity with the Indian government banks, which used to be technologically very, not very aggressive, has become more aggressive than the new gen banks. This is a good thing happening for us. So this shows the complete tilt towards digitalization for the function, which was, I should say, CFO used to be very possessive of their critical data. They used to think if I put it on cloud, it is my data, it should not be. The situation is today we are, as you can see Anthony here, we are coming out with our SaaS product on cloud, Oracle Cloud globally, and that too we will make a formal announcement. What is in the pipeline? The partnership with Thomson Reuters globally. So that is the thing which is coming out now, wherein we intend to launch this product very soon, maybe next month, anytime, once the formal announcement happens from Thomson Reuters, which is called Refinitiv now, because from 1st February, LSE has taken over that Refinitiv. So this is where we come from. And digitization in corporate sector, with connectivity to the banks, with connectivity to the trading platforms, not only managing your forex exposures, your commodity exposure, commodity risk, or investments, or going forward to your all banking activities, which is called trade finance activities. And above all, managing your cash liquidity. This is what the need of the hour. Today, when we are talking, more than 300 corporations in India in 4 months have approached us for digitization. And we are looking to dive down to the lower side of the pyramid, our cloud product, where we will be playing volume game for the emerging and large corporates, not only in India. The first stop is ASEAN region for our entry.
That's really cool. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Mr. Goba. I think it is very powerful when you have a strategic partnership along with Oracle and also with Refinitiv. So congratulations for that. Anthony, my next question goes to you. I know you're very passionate about the latest technology, especially artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotic process automation, and blockchain. So how do you think this technology could be a value add in Treasury and also trade finance management?
I think there are some really big changes coming. Bowie, you may have to add this better, thanks. I think there are some really big changes coming in the Treasury space. I think the portfolio that a Treasury team is going to have to manage will increasingly evolve with things like tokenized assets. I think the necessity to get away from a very physical view of assets is important, but also what constitutes a transaction of value may not always look like money in the future. So really understanding how to build cryptocurrencies either as a store of value or as a method of value exchange. Understanding things like utility coin and arbitrage across exchanges in order to manage risk against, somebody mentioned, Shirley mentioned an IoT company. We're seeing, particularly in IoT, the cost of the digital transaction is so microscopic for a sensor, for example, to find out whether it's too hot in your nursery at home. You don't need to be billed in a traditional financial environment. You need to be billed in a crypto environment where you can get down to tiny, minuscule fractions of a unit of value. So I think Treasury teams are going to have to start thinking about how they manage those assets, because the crypto markets are very volatile, but also those coins are becoming very much related to certain types of business or use cases. So depending on where they're investing, particularly for family offices, really getting a deep understanding of that space is important. And then I think the other thing that's going to change fundamentally is moving to smart or time-based contracts based on blockchains for higher levels of trust, automation and execution of those contracts, and to be able to trade contracts as well. So I think Treasury teams are going to take on different responsibilities in the business. And also, Mr. Grover brought up a very interesting point that there is now really almost a collision between central banks, between retail banking, investment banking, regulators, corporate treasury offices, and the ability to trade not only data, but also virtual assets between them, whether it be tax or currency risk or whatever. Those are becoming very important features, and the speed with which people have to do that is accelerating all the time. And that's really where artificial intelligence and machine learning come in, because it's with those kind of advanced analytical tools that it's easier to do scenario planning and modeling. It adds a new dimension to risk management because you can actually test, a whole lot of scenarios with a very low risk to doing that what if scenarios. And I also think you're going to see a lot more autonomous portfolio management using artificial intelligence. And I think you're going to see customizable platforms where people can very quickly respond to market dynamics. So you might build a model for your treasury, but then you might disassemble and rebuild that model within a matter of minutes or hours, or even in real time, in response to what's happening in the wider market. So I'm sorry about that rather comprehensive answer, but you asked me what I see happening in the future. And that's what I'm seeing in the market today.
Sure, the exciting is what happened is I'm very active in the technology space. There are 5 specific technology where my holding company focus in terms of angel investment, which is AI, big data, blockchain, cybersecurity, and Internet of Things. So I'm very excited. I guess we definitely can have a separate conversation on technology. And
I look forward to it.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome to speak by other future events. So thank you, Anthony. Chenny, my last question for you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Ellie.
For Mr. Grover's products, are you specific target very Fortune 500, those corporate CFOs and Treasury? Because the SMEs or medium-sized company, or the ones that when I was at UCF Capital as a CEO, we have a different needs for CFO responsibilities and tools. So I was wondering specifically what size of the company are you targeting at?
No, I don't think we are targeting only companies which are Fortune 500 or Fortune 400. It's not like that. Today, the scenario is, though at present, we have companies in our portfolio who had taken solution within the country. They start from 50 million onwards to 20 billion. Maruti Suzuki, which is the bigger than Suzuki of Japan, largest automaker of the country, or the largest steel maker of the country. They need this solution. That is one piece. What we are going ahead, which is coming on cloud today, which will be catering to emerging corporates, the bigger size SMEs. Their need has been defined, understood by studies, by our experience, by feedback from the ground, and we have devised a product because we have an existing product. We need not reinvent the wheel. We have complete gamut of treasury and trade finance and risk areas which are covered in our existing on-prem solution. The cloud product is coming up after picking the pieces in phase 1, we call it today, which stresses on cash and liquidity management, which is very painful area, even for SME, forecasting. Then comes to FX management, if at all they are exposed, or basic commodities, or if they are large enough to manage their hedge accounting processes. Small thing like document management system, people need to keep digital copies of their relevant documents, whether it's for a letter of credit or bank guarantees or bias, anything. Those kind of things we are providing in our solution, which is coming up in the phase 1, which I just told. So definitely, Shirley, we had taken into account the need of different category of corporations. I hope I answered your question.
Very good. Because large corporations, they have many tools and many talents to tap into because they could use the money. But it's emerging companies. They have to be a jack of all trades. So they were looking for one solution that they could help for them to grow and then not, have stretching the dollar further.
So I think I'll answer one more thing. We do not replace ERPs. We don't replace accounting system. But what we do, where the accounting system ends, where the ERP ends, we start from there and cover the complete distance up to the bank connectivity. So that is the need of people, because certain pieces are not available in ERPs or the accounting system, but people have to manage them on spreadsheets or some manual processes for multiple things, multiple people, a lot of data, a lot of, if you are not able to assess your risk, if you are not able to visualize your risk, you will not be able to manage or mitigate that. So that piece also taken care by us, digitalization in that. So practically where the ERP ends, we start from there. Highly configurable solution. People need only investment management. They can, if it's a family office, India's largest family office has taken our software to manage their investment portfolio. So they're SCL Corporation, that is the largest family office. to Maruti Suzuki, which has got 6 billion cash, which they are managing through our software, other than their FX exposures. So all these things are taken care by software.
Thank you, Mr. Kripa. I am mindful of the time. We're running a little bit short with our time, I guess. I still want to ask these two questions for Channing and Shirley, but I guess your answer needs to be a little shortened for me. Channing, for your existing investment portfolio, do you use an investment model or portfolio management service? And have you made any investment in emerging fintech companies? That one I know that is a yes, but I guess please share your views.
Yeah. Yes, we do use some portfolio management system, and mainly to increase our efficiency in manage our portfolio and also get some information and to help out making decisions. And fintech, of course, we do. And actually, the overall technology investment, we also very keen on investment like AI, big data, blockchain, IPO, and also health tech. We are also interested. Thank you.
Thank you, Channing. And last for you, being a CFO, what are the urgent needs do you think companies or startup should really pay attention to? Your views and prediction for this 2021?
Oh, wow. I still think cash flow is the king. If I could have a dashboard of all the different subsidiaries, different departments, with all the expenses and if timely manners, it's everything. If I could have an app that go around, when I was at UCF Capital, we build up a lot of digital coin exchanges and various different. We also run one of the largest Shirley distribution and a Fred. So with 9 stores, we have an app we created in-house, able to have a tab of all the sales. And when I was working on with my client now, if I knew they have the system, I know where the jewelries are, so we don't have lost 6 pieces of very expensive diamond necklaces. That is very much about asset management too with luxury retail. So the future is know where your assets are and also make sure everything counts.
Thank you,
Shirley. Digitalization.
I totally agree with you. Cash is the king, and also being able to get the accurate data to present to you at the timely manner, and for you to make a informed decision is a key. That's my view. I thank you so much, all the panelists, for great, insightful panel discussion on this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bowie, you have frozen?
Yeah, Bowie froze up.
So what's next on the agenda? Are we going to go and do a demo, Mr. Grover? Is that what happens
I
next?
think what is planned that just glimpses of our cloud product they would like to see for 5-10 minutes, so that this is what Boy had planned, right?
Yeah, can you do that? I'm curious. I'm very curious.
So I think what my team says on the demand of panelists, they will start from cash flow only. Syed, over to you.
Thank you.
Oh, someone's got 2 microphones.
My apologies for the technical difficulties. I guess everybody is still here?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, sorry about that. And Safi, are you here on the line?
Hello.
If we will go to the question, that's the question from Anil. Anil, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and also ask your question here?
Yes. Can you hear? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
and I want you to ask the question to the speakers, please.
Okay. All right. So this is this is how my dashboard looks like, because this is the,
Yes.
No, it's
And
okay. I think no. Yeah, I think Bowie, let's continue with this session because I think Syed is already logged in. I'll keep the question a little bit later. That's okay because the demo is started. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Thanks. Yeah.
okay. Thank you. So starting with cash flow, and liquidity dashboards. So this is how all the cash flow and liquidity. Hello. Okay. So what we are actually showing is the SaaS product that we have it along with Oracle that we are coming out with, and we are covering all the effects and cash flow here. So in terms of dashboards, I was showing effects, but because of the panelists, I am going to show the cash flow. So while capturing, the system will capture all kind of cash flows, like be it multiple entities, be it multiple cash, be it multiple currencies, and based on the account that we have it, like be it entity wise here, and converting that into local currency, and then here you can see currency wise multiple things, and then the bank wise here. And this is one of the dashboard that we have it. This is again a different dashboard that we have it. So which actually takes into consideration, like, all the bank balances that we have taken. There are options where you can enter and as well as capture the, empty 940 statements, end of the day statements. And you'll be able to get this, like, the bank balances, we are getting it. And then the amount to be blocked, and then the uncleared balances and the book balance. And apart from this, then all the inflows and outflows from the system that we have it, and then whether you are a surplus or a deficit in the cash. So here you can see this inflow and outflow, and then again we have a cash position as per the entities and the banks over here, and again the inflows and outflows as per the date wise. Here you can see on daily basis you can see this, and on monthly basis it can be what do you say, looked upon.
Yeah. So just to add on that, like, okay, if you look at the dashboard, what it has, so give a more flavor to that. Like the bank balances where we are picking up is like, okay, completely reading the bank statements from your emails or from the corporate emails, or like, okay, it's going to be straight through integration with the bank APIs, or like empty 940s, which will take it from the ship. So all the cases are possible. And the amount to be blocked, uncleared balances, which is like, okay, once the BR is done, like in case of anything is uncleared, so that's also will read it from the ERP, and the book balances. So finally, we arrive the book balance based on the bank balance and the amount to be blocked and uncleared. Then inflows and outflows. So the question is going to arise is like how this information is flowing to the system. So that the one answer is like, okay, we are going to build a ERP connector. So where we will extract the data from the ERPs and push it here. In case if some corporates, so which they don't have a ERP, or they don't want to integrate with the ERP, so then we have the uploaders as well as APIs, which will enable it to push the information to us where we can populate this. And this is completely based on the company and entities. In case if you have n number of entities, so the data can capture it at entity level as well as the group company level as well as the entity level, and the dashboard can be populated according to those terms. Suppose if you have look at it like, okay, I have n number of companies, So under one single group company, so then if they want to look at the dashboard at a particular company level, or like consolidating all the companies, and together if they want to monitor what is their bank balance and inflows and outflows, and whether they are in a surplus or deficit at the group level, they can look at it. Okay. So this information is very key, and like, okay, as a treasury head, look, this is the first and foremost information which they want to look at it and plan the day accordingly. So the inflows and outflows where we are picking up. So this can be so there are some of the inflows which can be projected inflows also come in here, as well as the like, okay, actual inflows, so which are all happening with the T+1 or T+2, so that can be uploaded. So we have capturing the information capturing system is so robust, so it calculates like what are the projected numbers, like budgeted numbers for the 3 months, the quarter, as well as the budgeted, in case if they want to upload the daily cash flows, so automatically it will reconcile between the budgeted and the daily cash flows, and accordingly it will project your inflows and outflows. So that makes sure that, okay, your inflows and outflows are in line with your whatever the businesses are, as well as, okay, that also accumulates into the bank balances and gives the proper number of like whether you are in a surplus or deficit. So then you can properly plan for the day, whether if the surplus where the amount need to be invested, and also if there is a deficit where you want to borrow the money from, whether it's through CCR or like, okay, different channels where you would like to flip for the dashboard. Yeah. And the beauty of these dashboards are like, suppose if you want to see that, like, okay, there are the numbers it's showing it, like, okay, if they want to see the what is the numbers around it, the graphical representation which you are seeing it, like if they want to flip the C, and if you want to see the numbers around it, like you can just click on the button, like it will show the complete numbers around it. So which is nothing but you are getting into the transaction level details, or the each bank level details, or each account level details are this flip. And again, if you want to expand it, like you can click on that, like where the thing's gonna be expanded for you. So again, if you want to take a screenshot of it, like put it into the PPT or somewhere, so you can snap it.
Yeah, thank you. And I actually wanted this this session to be more interactive. So I guess feel free, everybody, to ask questions if you have on this platform, so the team can address your questions right away. You don't have to wait until the end.
I give you a real life scenario. Like last week, the CFO had a junior person wrote a quite a large check. So in your system, it's not going to reflect it, because that is because you can only catch the bank balance, correct?
Amount booked unclear.
No,
we arrive at the book balance.
Yeah, so if you look at here, so this is the book balance. What it's showing is it's also taken care of accounting of your amount to be black as well as uncleared balance. So uncleared balance is nothing but like, okay, you have the check has been issued, but it's not cleared. So that will come under the uncleared balance. How the uncleared balance is arrived is, whatever once we are BRS, bank reconciliation is done, so whatever the still uncleared balances, those numbers will be available here.
So, will you have accountability of, for example, I think I did share with Mr. Grover, this company I'm working with, the CFO, the last CFO walked away with, in fact, he's in a criminal case now. So will you have actually a key to everyone that has accountability to the capital?
So, so what we do, we also, there is a maker checker concept in the system. That is one thing. Then second thing is that we maintain an audit trail. So anybody putting an entry in the system, he or she cannot delete it. The third thing is that when you see amount blocked, suppose the CFO, that finance department has issued some checks. In their system, they will make the entry of checks have been issued, but that has not been presented in the bank. So bank balance, what you see in the first column, checks issued in the second column, certain receivables which are yet to be cleared in the third column, and then our system arrives at the book balance. What will be the net balance which is available to the corporate to manage that? It is like this. So both sides, AR or AP, everything is taken care, arriving at the giving the exact information to the CFO or the finance head. And accountability wise, yes, because what is happening, we have an audit trail maintained in the system, so nothing can be deleted physically from the system. Who has done what, it is with the time stamp. At what time somebody, you can also fix that responsibility roles of the users, who can do what. Somebody can do data entry, or somebody can do only print, or somebody can authorize, and somebody can do editing. All these things system takes here and maintains the audit trail for that. Plus, there is a maker checker concept. Like in a banking solution, core banking solution, you find it maker checker, so that the security is the highest level for that, because it's a very critical function of the any organization. I hope I answered you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's great. Safia, I think you're back. Safia Chen.
Yep. Hi, Bowie. Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Just now, yeah, just would like to share some of my experience in Treasury and risk management. Mainly, I'm focused.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself and perhaps your challenges and your views on this topic while they are showing us this demo.
Yeah, sure. Great. Thanks, Bowie. Yep. Hi, all. Yeah. In fact, I'm focused in two parts. One of the part is that I am looking after for some family office to look after their investment, and also I'm focused in many different listed company service, in which I'm the founder of a CPA firm that is out of the 60 firms in Hong Kong that can sign up the audit report. And then mainly we focus on some, apart from listed company, we focus on the internal control. So that's why I think that's very suitable for today's topic. I think mainly the challenge we have come across when we have invest the money in some project is that it is how to manage the fund of the company to invest in to use their money in a proper way. Because if like startup, then they may just keep on using money everywhere, and how to make it a proper control to manage the cash flow is that like whether there's proper internal control in place in the bank, like even we acting as the investor, we must add in as one of the authorized signer. That's a very important way that a control as an investor that I think we must in place, because if we don't have any approval process that we have a role in the bank, then mainly those founders they will just use the money in many different improper way, like to do many advertising or whatever that gonna raise their money. So I think that's one of the important part that we have to take care with. Like I think this demo show a very good demonstrations on how to manage the bank and also the book. Because every time I think when I come across before we invest in that company, then many company is just not operating in a good way, because you can see they have revenue. It sounds like the founder also sounds like they are earning many money, but in fact they just don't control about their outflow. So many times you can see, though they may have revenue, but in fact at the end maybe it is a loss. So I think it is very important that our monthly reporting, that we must look after the book to see if whether they use or they spend in a proper way, or other way, then they may over expand, or then just get the money loss. And then that's some of my experience when I come across for some IPO job, for some startup, or for those listed company. Yeah,
That's
thank you.
very interesting, Xavier. Thank you for sharing. I guess you can continue the demo and show us more special features you have, or unique features you have on this platform.
Yeah. So once we have the cash flow has been identified, so then we'll get to know that like how much we have to make a payment, or how much we're going to receive. So in case if that is having a different kind of a different currency, so you are getting inflows and outflows when you are monitoring the global positions. So that time what happens, you should also know that like, okay, how much is your overall currency wise, how much is your exposures, so which is spread across, and how much is your inflows and outflows at each currency pair level. And so that is like, okay, where we are hedging that current, what is the current hedging position of that. So in case if there is a hedging, like, okay, how much we are hedged, what is your risk policies, and how much you supposed to hedge it, what is, if you're not hedged it, what is your profit and loss against to that, like, okay, if you hedged it, like what is your current rate is. So those things are the main key areas when we're talking about FX. So that's what this dashboard shows. Like, okay, once we come into the, like, okay, what is your inflows? It talks about what is your inflows and how much you hedged against to that, and what is your outflows and how much you hedged against to that. So in case if you have inflows and outflows, so then if the maturities are matching in the proper bucketing wise, so then how much is your exposure gap, which is talking about, like, okay, in terms of your natural hedge, which we call it. So natural hedge. So against to that, how much is been hedged. So this is the first one, is the summary of it, like where it shows like what is your MTM rate and target rate and the PNL for that. And the down, if you scroll it down, it also shows like what is your exposure inflows in terms of monthly bucketing wise. So that means like, okay, the top what we are showing is consolidated across the month, across like complete position. So that same thing has been broken into the monthly buckets, and it shows like what is your inflows at each month wise, it's spread across, and what is your exposure outflows, which are like a spread across different months. So then what is your exposure gap. So the down one, it also shows you like, okay, exposure inflows entity wise, exposure outflow also entity wise. So different entities in case if you have at a global level, and exposure FX derivatives at inflows and FX derivatives at outflows. Like, okay, it's saying like, okay, what are the derivatives which you have booked, whether it's going to be like, okay, forwards, options, or the futures. So what we have, and so in case if you have unhedged, so what are the unhedged positions which you are having it, like what is the rate of the target rate versus your hedge rates. So this all the dashboards. So this dashboard also can be generated in bit. It's going to be all the dashboards are across available at the system. So can be generated at each company level or the group level, each entity level or the group level. You can generate it, or like, okay, in case if you have multiple books, if you want to generate only for the particular book or strategy, you can do that. And also currency pair. So if you look at here, like what is my reporting currencies and functional currency. So what this means is like, okay, when we are talking about a global companies, like, okay, are the companies like which is spread across multiple geographical locations, if they want to convert their positions into the specific currencies, so that's what the reporting currency is going to be. And the functional currency is like where you are actually operating it. If you want to convert that like a second leg into the functional currency, so then it uses it. So reporting currency is going to play a major key role, like in case if you have a exposures at a SGD and Hong Kong and USD and GBP, then converting all the things into the reporting currency, something like, okay, you want to report everything into the USD or Hong Kong dollar, so that can be converted through the system.
Yeah, this is interesting. Thank you. I think you have a question about the ethics and cash flow part. Can you ask the question?
Yeah, just in terms of introduction, I'm Anil. I'm a co-founder of MaGESpire Partners. So I work with Bowie closely. And the question I have is, again, from one of the guests. So this is more on the investment side. So probably we haven't touched the investment module, but the question was related to one of the guests who manages private credit funds. And they plan to launch one in Europe, right? So the question was, will the platform be appropriate for private credit funds? So I believe that question is broadly maybe to Mr. Grover or.
Thanks, Anil. So this, as you are aware, when we claimed that we have all asset classes in the Treasury solution, that includes investment side also. One is FX, another is investment, third is commodities and equities, everything it takes care. Now companies and our investment module is being used by certain large family offices in the country. The main is, you must have heard the name of a largest technology company, one of the largest, SCL Corporation. The SCL family office is one of they are the biggest after Wipro. So all kinds of investments being done by them, whether it's in structure or in VCs or in equities or in PMS or in, you can say, normal things like mutual funds and FD apart from that. So every kind of instrument they invest into. So if a fund house wants to use the system to manage their investment portfolio, the solution is capable to do that. In one thing I will mention here, Anil, that we own this product. This is our own in-house developed product today. If somebody has to see a demonstration of this complete product, it may take 3 days if somebody goes by screen by screen. And we own the company. So what additional feature we bring in against any of the global competitor, that it's our product if minor tweaking is required or minor enhancement is required in the product or minor customization is required to accommodate certain workflow for the particular corporate client, we are capable to do that. And rather that is one of the USP. So in single word answer is we can cater to that requirement. So solution is capable. Let them give the scenario and we can show them POC, proof of concept, which will give them comfort to look forward next. Hope Great. I have answered your question, Anil.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Grover. And actually this slide is pretty helpful. I think we should have put it on the first things, right? So this actually gives a comprehensive overview than just directly going to the modules, right? It talks about multi-location, multi-currency, and what are other things it can do, right? Derivative valuation engine. So I think probably Syed, can you focus on the overall, because I'm just mindful of the time. So instead of
and also there's one question from the audience. I guess everybody can see it. Thanks, Paul. Paul's question is, can the system do scenario modeling? Say that I want to model impact of a certain deal. Will I be able to do this here and in other software package?
We can do, if you give us some time, we can show those things. Ready? Yes, we can do scenario.
Yeah, so definitely yes. So the system is very much capable to do that, and I'll show you that. Like, okay, you can do the complete scenario analysis, stress testing of it, like, okay, sensitive analysis, and also you can stress your positions in a linear and non-linear fashion, and do the complete option valuation. So for those things, as well as calculating the Greeks of your options, in case if you have any exotic option, system has the capability, very much have the capability to do the complete valuation for that. And also system has the capability to run the war, running the war on the portfolios, what you are having it like system has, I'll show you this, like, okay, it has the war numbers also, it can generate the war, and it has the sensitive analysis, scenario analysis, testing the positions. I will show you the scenario analysis.
Yes, everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
System is very much capable to do that. So it has the capabilities to do complete things. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. I know I'm mindful of the time. I know that Anthony, you are leaving soon, but before you leave, can I catch you for one final word to the audience for today? What other comment you have or anything you would like to say before you leave?
Well, I think this has been a really interesting session. I think what it demonstrates is that IBSFintech has got a solution that has got the safeguards and audit trails in it. And this is really the characteristic of good SaaS solutions, is that they take people out of the risk of the physical environment by giving them a rules-based approach to running their treasury and all of its different components. And I think that, you know, whether it be a large company or a small company, in fact, Shirley, you asked a question about small. I actually think one of the great opportunities here is that when you have a SaaS solution, a small company can step up and behave like a larger company because they don't have to hire as much expertise to get there, because all of the rules-based systems exist. And really, it's just a matter of them getting the appropriate coaching. So I just wanted to add that as a reflection as I've been watching this demonstration. I think, Shirley, this is a great place for small to mid-sized companies to go.
Thank you very much, Anthony. How about you, Shirley? You have any views on comment after you see this short demo session?
I actually thought next question is how do we get it and what is the subscription rate?
I'm sure Mr. Grover will be very happy to sign you up. I know I will be happy when he signs you. I will be happy when he signs you up because I want him to be a very successful customer of mine.
So we can do it offline, Shirley. Yes, we'll be glad and honored to cater your requirement there.
And I want to introduce you to my clients too. I think they should subscribe to your system also.
Thank you so much.
Okay, do you have any final words, Mr. Grover?
Yes, Bowie, I think it was a very nice and interactive session. I congratulate you for conducting such a wonderful seminar in such a short time, and grateful to Shirley and Tsangs and Anthony for joining us and making it a great thing. IBSFintech is coming out in a SaaS model in a big way. The whole proposition in the treasury space, as you know, we are ranked 8th among the global big players. There is no player from Asia Pacific region in this particular product. We want to be in top 2 or 3 companies in next 2 years' time, and we'll make it. We know the requirement of the corporations, which is the whole players, all the players, major players in the globe. They are catering to the requirements of the banks only mainly, because banks give more money. But today's SME will become emerging will be a mid will become large will become exceptionally large corporation. So it's an ever-growing market. And there is a need. Volatility in the globe is going every moment, whether it's in commodity, whether it's in oil, whether it's in currency. So all these things will keep generating value for a treasury system. So we, post India, after establishing ourselves in a leadership position in India, we are entering in ASEAN, in your region, HK, and since Anthony is there, I'm glad that we will be in JAPAC region altogether with his support. Oracle supporting us, we'll win, and you people are there. What we know that we understand the pain of CFOs and treasury heads with our experiences. We will ensure that corporations benefited from that, mainly SME and emerging corporates, and definitely family offices.
Sounds great. Thank you, Mr. Grover. And Shirley, do you have any other further comment you would like to share before we end the session today?
Do you have a demo office here in Hong Kong?
Yes, Bowie is there.
Oh, good. I want to take seriously. I want to take a couple startup CFOs and founders to come and learn, because I think this is first day they should have the system in place when they get the angel money or the Series A money.
I believe in that. We believe in that. This is a must to have. It's not a luxury.
Yeah, yeah.
Dashboard on his mobile or this thing, which gives him morning itself. And we have built an alert engine. Any violation happening across the globe, the concerned stakeholder will get the alert on that.
Correct. The stakeholder will love it because they will give the founders discipline.
So complete control and visibility.
Correct. And I'm not sure the founders might like the stakeholders to get a hold of it.
This is great. Again, thank you so much, Mr. Grover, Anthony, Shirley, Channing from Tsangs. Thank you so much for coming, and all the audience. Thank you so much for your support. If you are interested with the IBSFintech platform, please reach out to me directly. I'm going to leave my email address here. And again, I am Bowie, and feel free to let me know. And I guess that will be the end of our session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Bye-bye.